What is going on, guys? It is Joe, and I am back again to talk about Kansas State basketball. I'm going to give you a heads up. I might be a little bit quieter in this one because it is currently 12:15 in the morning as I'm recording this, so I apologize. I want to get that out of the way here real quick. Kansas State takes a massive win over fourth-ranked Kansas, 75-70, on the backs of Arthur Kaluma, Tyler Perry, Cam Carter. We're going to talk about everything and more in today's episode, but before I do, let me remind you, if you like K-State athletics, if you like K-State basketball, football, anything K-State, this YouTube channel is the place for you. Please consider taking a couple seconds out of your day to subscribe. If it's something you're interested in, I'm not going to force you to it, but if you like K-State, that might be a good choice for you here in the future. Let's get into things here, starting with this. Arthur Kaluma plays 41 minutes in this game, has 13, 8, and 2. Almost a double-double. Jerome Colbert, 16 minutes, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Doesn't get on the board in scoring, but had a huge impact on the game. We'll talk about Jerome Colbert here in a sec. Cam Carter, Tyler Perry both played 45 minutes, the entire duration of the game here. 45 and 45 for both. Cam Carter has 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. And Tyler Perry goes out there and has 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists in a massive day for the boys. Day-to Ames, 6 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound. Will McNair, 3 rebounds, 6 points. And David Gasson with 5.7 boards and 2 assists in the game. Saw a combination of 7 guys in this game. You know, we've seen RJ Jones check in the last couple of games. You've seen a little bit of Taj Manning. You've seen some of Dorian Finister. This game went with 7 dudes, so you never know whether that's a conscious effort or that's just kind of how the game flow worked. Either way, it worked great. K-State ends up pulling this one out late. I want to start off here because there's a lot of different dudes I'll talk about here in this thing, but I want to start off with someone who really made an impact and someone that might not have gotten the love initially deserved. Jerome Colbert, man, his second career start, has to go and defend Hunter Dickinson. First 2 plays, he goes back-to-back, gets fouled. Next play, turns around, blocks a Hunter Dickinson shot, gets the rebound going the other way, transition bucket for K-State for Cam. That is massive, man. His impact was huge in this game. Obviously didn't score, didn't get on the board, but did have 3 and 3. Tyler Perry, Cam Carter talked about it in post-game, Arthur Kaluma as well. Jerome Colbert was plus 18 in the final box sheet, despite not scoring in the game. That is huge. That is a massive impact, and his confidence is going to continue to grow. Jerome Tang had a great quote talking about Jerome after the game, kind of telling him, like, this isn't what I want. I don't want him to understand that this is his ceiling, because it's not. He can't get comfortable and be cool with this. He has to keep developing, because he'll be on the scouting report going forward. I mean, odds are you beat a 4th-ranked team, you're going to stay a starter. I mean, it worked really well. The rotation looked good. And there's also a lot of love I should throw towards David Gasson and Will McNair. This game really reminded me of that Kentucky game in the low block where K-State had to use multiple fouls from David Gasson, from Naquan Tomlin to defend Oscar Tshiebwe, who was a physical threat, and obviously we know what happened there. The guys stepped up and answered the call. Obviously, Hunter Dickinson scores about 20, but does foul out in the game, and K-State was all over him from the jump. I absolutely loved the competition from Jerome Colbert. He deserves a spot in the starting lineup going forward. His energy is the thing that's going to set this team the next level. Like, I know there's comparisons to Naquan Tomlin. I know there's moments where you can see flashes here and there. He's his own dude, and he's young, and he's still learning. Obviously, you have the moment where he missed the free throws. He has different things there, here and there, but Jerome Colbert is going to be a massive piece for this team going forward. Jerome had a couple of big plays that were just high energy, high level plays, so that's really what you need in this contest, especially a game where both teams are turning around after a 24-hour period of another game. The more energetic team won here. I mean, there's arguments where Kansas had some stretches where they were more physically imposing, but the more athletic team, or the team that was running out in transition, did win this game. So K-State was able to find a way, and a large part of that was to Jerome Colbert, so I wanted to give him flowers. Now, this is a dude who, realistically, I feel like 8 out of 10 tweets have been negative about. Tyler Perry, man, I will say this. I'm done with the Tyler Perry disrespect. I get if you want to say the whole, well, why isn't he scoring in the first half? Why isn't he doing this? Man, you go out there and you put up 26 points, 26, 5, and 4 against the 4th-ranked team in the country, and as long as you see the ball go through the net once, or even if you get a good look, as long as they scheme more for Tyler Perry early in the game, TP is lights out, man. That's dude, like, I know that people kind of wanted to clown the whole best shooter in America, moniker that Jerome Tang gave him. After shooting roughly 30% from 3 after being, a career 40% guy, as long as TP is focused on winning, focused on playing basketball, he's TP, dude. That guy is legit. Had some great finishes in this game, some big buckets down the stretch. I don't want to move on past the fact that this kid genuinely could be the best shooter in America. It all lives and dies with him. That's the thing. Like, TP, and I know that people might not like this, genuinely has the ability to be the best shooter in America. Do I think he is? Not all the time. I mean, it's consistency, but I don't think there's anyone physically more gifted at shooting the basketball than Tyler Perry. The way the dude shoots it, as long as he's confident in himself, he doesn't miss. Doesn't matter if there's a hand in his face. If it doesn't matter if the guy's 6'5". I mean, we saw him hit a 3 in front of a couple of dudes this week, including You know, you saw a Kevin McCullough moment. You saw a KJ Adams moment. That's a KJ Jefferson, the UCF quarterback. if he's hitting threes in front of KJ Jefferson, I mean, this guy's shooting from Orlando, but TP absolutely stepped up, man. I know there's kind of a weird storm brewing about like, hey, here's a TP legacy game, and Tyler Perry absolutely stepped up. So huge shout out to him as his first action in this rivalry. He spoke about it. He's been involved in a couple of Kansas rivalries through his time. He had the Coffeeville, and I think Independence was the other team he mentioned. This was a massive moment. So Tyler Perry went out there, was absolutely the best shooter on the court, and was a massive piece for K-State tonight, and played like the dude we all know he can be. So big props to TP. Cam Carter, dog. I mean, I'm biased for Cam. I love that dude to death, man. He is the pinnacle of what a K-State basketball player should be. And he's following the exact, method that Coach Tang lays out for his guys, that he hits in the portal or he finds, young guys. Like, you don't come in and you play a ton. If you're a redshirt guy, you redshirt. The next year you'll play a little bit. That was last year for Cam. Obviously didn't redshirt, but jumped in, was a starter, played, 30 minutes, 28 minutes, and had some moments, but he wasn't a focal point of the team. He was a solid role player and understood his role. Cam this year has been asked to be that dude. Cam absolutely can play. I watched KU accounts being like, okay, Cam Carter is really, really good at basketball. I mean, he held Johnny Furphy to 4 points after Furphy's averaging 16.5 points and lights out from 3 of the last 6 games. So Cam knows what he's about. I think the biggest thing about this, you saw his quote last week, and I really liked what he had to say. He basically talked about how the team needs to play with more heart. Cam went out there from the jump and showed, hey, I'm not just talking, I'm not just saying stuff. This is what I plan to do. Goes 2 for 2 off the rip. The first 60 seconds, Cam has back-to-back threes. The dude is hunting for shots. He's getting to the cup. He's doing the right things. And I think he just understood, what this game was going to take a little bit more. I'm not saying that Tyler Perry, Arthur Kaluma didn't know what to expect, because you can prepare for this, but Cam was a guy that was there last year. Obviously, David Gassan was there last year. A couple other guys were as well, but Cam being on the court for that game last year, seeing all the stuff that happened, you see what it takes to win these games that realistically, K-State played great last year, and they won by 1 in overtime. You have to understand what it takes against your rival on your home court, against a team like Kansas. So Cam being out there absolutely knew the moment. 19 points, 11 boards. He was huge for us tonight. I know that Tyler Perry had 26. He was the score leader, but Cam was absolutely Cam was a threat. I mean, Cam was a weapon on both sides of the ball. So came up, realistically, and had a great defender on him the whole time. He had a combination of Kevin McCullough on him, and then sometimes Johnny Furphy would switch over, but laterally wasn't quite quick enough to keep up with Cam. So being able to get around a guy like Kevin McCullough, Cam absolutely had a big day. So huge moment for Cam Carter. Now, there's a couple other things that happened that weren't necessarily basketball related, but I'll give you my thoughts on them because, we're here. We're here for it. Let me give you my stance on the chant, because I know that people are going to ask about it. I wish it wouldn't have happened, but also, to say that, it wasn't impressive to see it change from the FKU chant to the KSU chant as the game went on. I can live with that. I can absolutely live with that. So I'm not sitting here saying it's good for the team, good for whatever. I liked Coach Tang's message in postgame about how when it means more to us to support KSU than it does to tear somebody else down, that's when this will change. I think you see that. The more wins you can put up, the more times you can get people to understand, hey, we don't have to rush the court. We don't have to do this stuff. I don't know. So I'm here for the idea of stopping the chant, but I know that college kids at the end of the day are still going to be college kids, so you can't really, I'm not faulting people for that, but I understand what the future looks like, I think, with the chant, with the court storming stuff. And I was really, really proud to see the students actually listen to the coaching staff and not run out there. You saw Jerome Dowling basically pleading with the crowd, hey, don't rush, man. Please do not rush the court. One, obviously it's a risk of player safety. It's why Bill Self talked about it post-game. He's every time we've lost here, there's been a court storming. I took my 5 starters out because the next rotation of guys know that as soon as the whistle goes to get back to the sideline, so there's not any overlap. It's a risk for getting fined. It's a risk for whatever. And I know you can just say, well, let the kids have fun. But, man, it does show something about, hey, this isn't a career-defining day for us. This isn't a game that, I'm going to tell my kids about tomorrow. It's not a situation where it's just because we beat our rival, it's some massive production all the time. So I actually really liked that the students not only listened, but they understood that the coaching staff wasn't just going to say, stay over there and then go to the locker room. They're going to come celebrate with you. They're going to make it worth your while, and you get to be a fan still. So I thought it was pretty cool either way. Another thing I thought was kind of funny, in case you missed it, how about Avery Johnson versus Kobe Bryant in the post-game comments? You saw Kobe Bryant put out a tweet. If you didn't, it's a Kansas cornerback. Put out a tweet right after the game, and it had some crazy interactions immediately upon putting it out. So Kobe Bryant tweets out and said, "We will handle them in football this year. That's a promise," with the 100 emoji. Avery Johnson quote tweets it with crying, laughing face emojis. How about that? Then you see, of course, Kobe Bryant be like, "We'll see you soon," or whatever, with the devil emoji. That was so funny. And then you saw so many dogs on K-State share that on their social media, share that. this rivalry is one of the best in college sports. It is basketball, football. You love to see where it's at. So I thought that was pretty funny to see, but it's also important to note, like, we did just beat the number 4 ranked team in the country after turning the ball over 16 times. Like, there is still an avenue to play better basketball. There's good moments we can get through, and I know there's going to be cold stretches. We're going to lose games that we shouldn't. We're going to win games that we probably shouldn't as well. It's important to note that this team still has a chance to get to the NCAA tournament. Like, this is a win that puts you back into that conversation. If they can play up to their potential and do the right things, which hopefully this is that confidence builder where you see some of the guys like TP know, like, oh, shoot, I'm better than everybody on the court. Like that's like a quick reminder that these guys can step into. So hopefully these moments will help to strengthen the overall morale of the team and kind of get this team ready for the next wave of Big 12 play, because you turn around, you got a road trip to BYU. They're a top 25 team. You got TCU, you got, all these different teams that are top 25 teams for the next 4 or 5 games. So this was a massive win, but you can't get too wrapped up in it too much. But I want to end this by saying one thing that I thought was really good. So it was a quote for Cam Carter. Basically, they talked about it, and they're like, Cam, what do you think about this versus last year? These are 2 massive wins. What do you think about XYZ thing? And Cam goes, we're used to winning. We're used to this, and there's going to be a lot more of it. And I thought that was just a perfect way to wrap it up. It wasn't, it wasn't cocky, it wasn't over the top, but it was a cool, confident way to say, like, look, this program is going to continue to churn out these wins. So we respect the fans, we respect the coach, we respect everybody with it. But guys, that was a massive win. I will say that one way or another. You get your confidence back, you get back into the winning circle, and you've still got to hunt. Like, realistically, there's going to be awful games every night, whether you're Kansas, Houston, Kansas State, Oklahoma. It doesn't matter what team you're on the Big 12. There's going to be a test every single night. So K-State's going to have another opportunity to get another big win against BYU next up. But guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you here in the next one. Go Cats!